Welcome to Street Startups, the innovative podcast for those who are looking to use their skills and talents to start successful businesses. Join us for each episode as we introduce you to successful community-based entrepreneurs and discuss the strategies necessary to launch your startup. Join startup strategists Tracey and C.J. to learn more about what it takes to be a successful entrepreneur in your community.
Welcome back, everybody, to another exciting episode of Street Startups. We're kicking off our new season tonight, and boy, have we got a show for you. Hello, partner. What's going on, Tracey? Good to see you.
Oh, it's good to see you again, partner. Even though I just seen you about 10 hours ago in Newark.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did.
And once again, thank you once again for a wonderful class, a wonderful 6 weeks of teaching our young men up in Newark how to start and run a business. So great job. And welcome, Dejà. And yes, we are back. Street Startups is back online. So we are super excited to re-energize and restart our podcast and get back on the air to share some of these wonderful stories of entrepreneurial journeys. So thank you, partner, for saying, Tracey, we need to get back on the radio.
We do. There's stories to be told, and who better to tell them than you, right, my friend? Listen, so speaking of stories that we need to tell, tonight, folks, we have an amazing guest with us. And when I say amazing, I mean amazing. This is going to be off the charts tonight. Tonight, we have the founder, president, CEO, and literally chief cook over at Delicious and Sweet, Ms. Dejà Smith. Dejà, how are you? And welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm great. How are you guys?
That's awesome. Listen, I've been over on your website all day. It is magnificent.
Thank you.
So you've done such an incredible job. We can't wait to hear it. Let's just jump right in. Tracey, go ahead. As always, you kick us off, partner.
Thank you, Dejà. Thank you for coming on board Street Startups. We are super excited to have you here this evening. You know, one of the things we talked about before we went on air was that I always love to hear entrepreneurs' journeys. I love to hear how they got started, how they got in business, what was the motivation behind them getting in business. So just tell us a little bit about that. How did you become an entrepreneur, and what made you go into the business world?
Well, it's kind of a long story and a crazy one at that. So I originally started off with wanting to actually be a pediatrician. That was like my thing growing up. I always wanted to be a pediatrician, or even maybe get into some fashion here and there. So cooking or baking was not in my future. If you would have asked me like 15 years ago, I probably wouldn't have seen it. But I decided to actually do baking. I want to say in high school, one of my high school teachers, he told me, well, it was part of our curricular, like one year we have to cook and another year we have to bake. I might want to throw in that I went to a technical school, which is basically a college for high school students. So you get to study the career that you want. And then when you move on to college, your college credits that you earned in high school move on with you. So I got a little step up in my career. So I actually decided to bake once a teacher pulled me to the side and said, hey, you're actually really good at decorating cakes. Have you ever thought about baking? And it never really crossed my mind. I just thought just decorating cake was like art almost, because that's one of my other favorite things is to like paint and draw on my free time. So it kind of just started from there. But way before that, I was a little bit interested when it came to like watching the Food Network, watching my parents or really my grandparents cook, you know, as a kid, having an easy bake oven, things like that. So that's, I guess, where it stemmed off from just a little bit, but definitely shout out to my teacher for actually recognizing my art, because if it wasn't for him, I probably wouldn't have stepped into that field.
That's awesome. Awesome. The power of a teacher, right? We talk
Yeah.
about the power of a great teacher. So that's great. Do you remember that teacher's name, Dejà?
Yeah, Mr. Lilly and Mr. Fortune.
Good. Let's give them a shout out today.
Yeah,
right?
shout out to you guys at Warren Tech.
We celebrate teachers here at Street Startups.
Definitely.
You know, listen, I love your go-to-market strategy, right? And I shared earlier, I was on your website, and it's beautiful, magnificent,
you.
right?
Thank
It's off
you.
the hook. The cakes and the cupcakes, everything looks fabulous. You know, so many of our listeners, Deja, they have the idea. They put their foot into the game, right? They step in and they start to get started. But how do you get from the idea to what we see on your website? How did you do that?
So for me, it was more about my passion for it. It's something that I really wanted. It was actually my escape from reality, almost, if you can say. I was actually bullied in high school before I actually went to the technical high school. And even then, I struggled with, I guess, making friends or really just hanging out with people. I was by myself most of the time. So I had a lot of time to perfect my craft, almost, you can say. And by the time I got to college, excuse me, by the time I got to college, it was, either do it or find something else. And I'm not a person to give up easy. So I stuck with it. I graduated with my baking associate's degree and I have my culinary diploma. So with those two, I studied for about 7 years in the culinary and baking field. And then COVID came. And it was either sit down, study, and make this happen, or again, we move forward. And in between then, I dibbled and dabbled into different culinary fields, whether it was serving into a restaurant, being a manager at a restaurant, serving food, being in the kitchen, just all different aspects. Because at one point, I did want to open a restaurant, but that teacher changed my mind into baking. So from there, we had to have a game plan in order to graduate college. It's called capstone, where you create everything that you need reality wise. So if one day you really wanted to make it happen, you already have the book. So I already had the plan. I just had to put it into action. And over COVID, that's what I decided to do. And it was, a couple things here and there that got me caught up, like the what is the word I'm looking for? Obstacles that came along, but I got through them and we're here today with my website. And I want to give out shout out to Kayla, who actually helped me with my website, because without her, I actually wouldn't have got it done. So
Excellent. Thank you, Kayla. And
yeah.
so listen, so many things in there to unpack, right? But that part about, your challenges at high school with the bullying and whatnot, thank goodness you were able to overcome that and you took that and used it as an advantage in your life, right?
Yeah, I decided that, people's words won't make me who I am. Like, one moment doesn't make your lifetime. So whatever happened then is what happened then. And I use that to power me forward, because they can say one thing, but today you can't even recognize the girl I was back then. So
Love it, love it, love it. Tracey, go ahead.
you're on mute again.
Got you back on mute. What happened, partner?
There you go.
Listen, I told you guys those entrepreneurial stories are always amazing stories and amazing journeys on how you get there. And yes, Deja, you hit on a couple of nuggets. So just want to talk about a couple of things, because I am a passion guy. I believe in passion. I believe we are all put here on this earth to find our purpose. And normally it comes through our passion. And as you stated, decorating cupcakes is an art. It's an art. It's a talent. Everybody don't have it. I had dinner last night at an event in Philadelphia. The cake that they served me, if I served it at my restaurant, they would run me out of town. I mean, the icing, they must have put it on hot. So you know this, they must have put the icing on hot, so it all slid to the edge of the pan. So once again, it brings me to this analogy that there's no microwave cupcakes, there's no microwave success. You have to put in the work. You have to put in the work, and you've done that. So thank you and congratulations on doing that. So real quick, and we talked a little bit about this earlier, how much influence and I say this all the time, I didn't grow up with entrepreneurs in my family. The entrepreneurs in my family were selling drugs. So I didn't have a rich uncle to lend me money to get started. How has your family been supportive in your entrepreneurial journey?
My family has been very supportive, especially my mom. She's the one who has, I can say, invested a lot into me when it comes to basically speaking life into me, saying, you know, you can do this, you got this. Even when it came to my bullying situation, I can even say both my parents came through for me. It was something it was hard for them to understand in the beginning because I didn't really tell anyone or speak anyone on it. Because again, I'm someone who doesn't really give up easy. So I thought I could fight these battles on my own. But in the end, I really couldn't. So I had to tell them, like, I need to escape. I gotta go. I can't be here anymore. It took a while for them to understand, but they finally got me where I needed to be. So, you know, without them, I wouldn't have this moment right here with you guys. So
Great.
shout out to my parents.
Yes, and as I stated, I've known your mom for a number of years. Shout out to her, the great work she do, representing the 75,000 Black-owned businesses here in New Jersey, through the African American Chamber of Commerce. So you come from good stock, that's for sure.
Yeah.
CJ.
Good stuff. Shout out to mom and dad. We're getting a lot of great shout outs tonight, right?
Yeah.
Friends and moms and dads. It's wonderful. I love it because look, these entrepreneurial journeys, we're not just doing this alone, right? We have people
Yeah.
that travel with us on these journeys, and that's part of the joy of it. You know, one of the other things, Dejà, that we always talk about is the experience that you've gained along the way, and we always talk about, you know, giving back. And tonight you get a chance to share some of your knowledge, right? Do you have a top tip or a maybe top two that you want to share with the other entrepreneurs that are listening? Maybe something you would have done better or different, or something that you did do better that you want to acknowledge?
Well, I want to say on this journey, I don't really have any regrets. I can say it's a lot of lessons learned becoming an entrepreneur. You learn a lot on the way. You learn that you know, you're gonna make mistakes the first few times. It's not gonna be the first time around. It might be the first two, three times around. Like it's not always perfect, but it will get there. And even then, you might not feel like it's perfect. But I always tell people strangers will be your top supporters. Yes, you have family and friends, but strangers that you don't know will uplift you more than you think because like you guys, I don't know you and or I don't know you that much, but you've seen my website and to hear that you love it lets me know that the hard work I recently put into it is paying off because someone I don't know or I haven't met is telling me that I'm doing a great job. And even though you only know a little bit about my story, you can still tell the dedication I put into it. And that's means a lot to me. Like the little things mean a lot. So
Oh,
I can
absolutely.
definitely say that. Like that's one. And another thing would probably is don't be afraid because if I was scared like I was in the beginning, I probably also wouldn't be here in this moment, be able to talk to people or give advice to anyone because then you know it wouldn't have been for me like you see someone that you want to see. So I like to watch Yolanda Gamp on YouTube. Her channel is called How to Cake It, and that was actually one of my big channels coming up to how it was. So I learned how to make a book cake. I learned how to make a watermelon. I learned how to make pancake cake, like things like that. My first vanilla cake recipe that I mastered was actually hers, and I took it and I flipped it into mine and made my own recipe. So watching her grow. And then her actually branching off onto the Food Network was crazy to me as someone who started off on YouTube that I remember back in 2014, maybe 2013, is now on Food Network. And everyone is always saying, when is your turn? When are you going to be on there? And I'm just like, you never know. I might be one day. It all started from someone. So watching someone become an entrepreneur and then you just kind of branch off and you become one or you have advice for someone else, even if it's not your thing. So that's definitely you always just don't be afraid to do what someone else is doing because there's plenty of us on the market, but it's not like they are you. You specialize
Mhm.
in being
Mm.
yourself.
Yes, yes.
Brilliant, brilliant. Dejà, we have a minute or so left, but tell folks how they can find your website and tell them how we order from you. Like, how do we get your stuff?
So I actually have a great feature on my website. You can find it at deliciousndsweet.shop. You can also find me on Instagram at delicious.in.sweet. And I think my TikTok is up, which is delicious and sweet. And that's the letter N, not and, the letter N. And my new feature is that you can actually just go in and order cupcakes and cake jars. And I have some new items coming soon, so just stay tuned. That you guys can just order off the website. You don't have to come and order through me. You can easily just pick your flavors, pick your filling, your frosting, any toppings you want, and then you submit your order, and then it's on your way to your front door.
Awesome. Awesome. Cupcakes coming to my front door. God bless America, right? Wow. Tracey, you get the final word as always, my friend.
Wow, bro, we might need another episode with this.
Oh my gosh. Yes, come
Yes,
back.
because she gave out two good pointers, and I just want to hone on one of them because she said she ended up watching on YouTube how to cake it, but earlier she talked about watching the Food Network. Dejà has become a expert and a master of focusing on the things that pertain to her passion and her purpose. And that's how you make it work. I'm 60, I'll be 62 next year. Lifelong learner. Lifelong learner. The way I started in the construction business, watching the home channel. Can't build nothing, but I'm watching the home channel. I'm watching Flip This House. I'm watching all these shows that's giving me the stuff that I need to go out there and do what I've done over the past 30 years. So Dejà, you are on the right track. God bless you, young lady. Looking forward to seeing amazing things in your cupcakes all around this country. So thank you very much for sharing your story here on Street Startups. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. It's really an honor, guys. Thank you so much.
Absolutely, Dejà. When you get that new product line launched, we want you to come back and share with us, tell us how it was going and how it was received, and just share more of your expertise on being an entrepreneur out there in the marketplace. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
So folks, you heard it here tonight. Guess what? Entrepreneurship, business goes together with delicious and sweet in the marketplace. So don't hold back. Check out those cupcakes today, and we will see you next time on Street Startups. Peace.
Peace. Thank you.
We're taking it to the streets, from New York to California. Be sure to tune in for the next episode of Street Startups Podcast and visit us at streetstartups.live.